So what do you do when you're supposed to implement CI in a department where the manager doesn't really support it? That is quite a tough thing, and it's not best to go straight on. So let's discuss a bit of tactics on how to approach such a situation. Hello, I'm Tom. Welcome to my channel where we talk about continuous improvement in an industrial setting. And the topic of today's video is again based on a viewer question. So please do, ask those questions in the comments, because they make for really nice discussion there in the comments, but also for very nice ideas for new videos for you so that I can make them. And this one, well, I think actually many of us in the continuous improvement field have struggled with this problem from time to time, because what you will often see, and let's sketch the basic situation, is that you have this management of your factory, there is a production organization, and you as a CI person, you basically get the direction from the manager: go and implement lean, or go and implement 5S, continuous improvement, in this production organization. So what the basic idea is the boss, everyone's boss, tells you to go tell them, and this one, the department manager, or maybe a team lead, a line manager of whatever level of line management for the line operation, has to go and make it happen, implement lean together with you. If that person is really enthusiastic and really wants to implement 5S, go for lean ways of working, you will have a great time. And there will still be difficulties. You still have to get the whole population along. You have to do training and teaching and building the stuff, and you will get into problems. But in principle, you got a very nice setup. Now, what quite often will also happen is that they don't really have the time, the knowledge to train. So what you will see happening is that you teach them, but also convince them. And it gets even worse when, and this is where the question came, this line manager doesn't really want to do lean. They don't believe in 5S. They don't have the time to go and implement some TPM stuff. But most importantly, they are not going to even support your 5S by auditing. They are not going to push the word out to their people. They basically see you as a bit of a nuisance put there by management, and they're just not helping at all. In fact, by having this attitude towards the continuous improvement change efforts, towards lean, 5S, whatever you're implementing, they are actively hurting your chances of implementation. And I think that this is something, if you've been in the field for, let's say, more than 2-3 projects, you will have encountered this. Luckily, there are many situations where we at least have a couple of team leads, a couple of managers who are quite happy to go and do the work, whom you can also push a bit and say, okay, look, I will work with your crew, but I need you to come and audit. I need you to sometimes say it's important. We're going to do this change communication next week, and I would like you as their leader to discuss the change, to have this question list ready. And I mean, in practice, what you will do, at least that is what I would advise you to do, is even if they like it, even if they know what it's about, prepare them. Make sure that this team leader does not fail by giving them answers, by giving them their speech, by coaching them a bit on how to speak with the whole team. But if they want to, this can be a golden way of cooperating, a golden way of getting a nice implementation going. If they are not happy, this can really, really block it. And now, before we go into more of the answer mode, what do you often see happening in this case? It is this person doesn't support the change effort. They will understand that you are not their manager, and I guarantee you that the shop floor population is very sensitive to this type of hierarchical play, often more sensitive than many of us CI people, but they know perfectly well that if their manager is not going to support it, they basically don't have to do it. So it takes a lot of internal motivation from their side if they still want to work with you. Now, a couple of them will, but it is a recipe for disaster. And the worst of the disasters that can happen is that it doesn't work, and then basically this manager and their colleagues tell the boss, yeah, this whole CI initiative, you see, it's not working. And the big boss starts to come down on you saying, hey, why is 5S not working there? And as soon as the organization makes you, within CI, responsible for the implementation of 5S, of KPI meetings, of lean planning, or of Kanban in your inventory, whatever continuous improvement thing you are trying to implement, as soon as you are the one who is responsible and they don't want to play game, it is not going to happen, and you're going to be in a very bad situation. And you can help this along in the wrong way. You can help this along by taking the responsibility. So the wrong thing to do is, as soon as you notice the team lead doesn't want to help me, is really not motivated, we'll keep pushing the team lead, but we can't let this initiative fail, so we're going to take over control and directly talk with the shop floor, push them, make sure that we make the 5S sites. And something that can also happen a lot is that 5S is then done together with the quality department, because it's also good for our ISO audits. It's very nice for your ISO system, which demands a lot of continuous improvement type of tools and implementations, and that is because continuous improvement is good for your company if done well. And ISO basically asks you to do things that are good for your company. So what you then see is that the quality department and the continuous improvement department are making shadow boards for all the cleaning tools. They are not done usually in a way that is the most ideal for your operators, but much more important, it will not be their board, so there is no ownership, and things start spiraling down, right? This is the vicious cycle of the manager doesn't support it. It's not ours, so we don't really want it. So yes, we get the training, but we're not paying attention because it's not important for our manager anyway. We get the tools, but the tools are not really ours. We don't get the proper feedback on it, except from these extra people from the other departments. So that is just, it's a very toxic situation. Now, what would be a good way to do it, and this is difficult, but it's something one of my own continuous improvement lean mentors taught me when I was in this role, and he was supporting me from global. I'm not sure, I know that he likes the idea of these videos, but I think he doesn't watch too many of them. But just in case, Jasper, dankjewel voor deze tip, because I'm going to share with you now Jasper's tip that he gave me. He said, make it their problem. So make sure that that person who has to move, who has to be the front man of the change, gets a problem. So what you basically do, you do not take this responsibility. You go back to the boss, and this is not always possible to do very direct, but that's where the political game comes in a little bit. But you go back and you make sure that the boss makes it the department manager or team leader's problem to implement this stuff. So if we are in an ISO audit, one of the things you can sort of push a bit extra is, and you're lucky if you have such a situation, one department in the factory came through it with flying colors on the whole thing about hygiene rounds and everything is ordered and systems are good. If that is the department where you already launched a successful 5S pilot because they did want to implement it, and they make some remarks about the department where it was not implemented, make sure that those remarks hit the final presentation, that those remarks are quoted directly in your leadership team meeting. Make sure that this department gets a problem. They get into trouble because they are not organized, or they are not planning, doing, checking, and acting upon any deviation. So the fact that they are not following our CI tools, which in the end are just good management tools as well, that they are not following it is becoming a problem. So they need the results somehow. They need a system. Another way, and this is it will work very well in food, probably in pharma. You check within your own industry if you can find something that is similar. Maybe you can sort of misuse a safety system for this. But I'll tell you something that works very well in food, where you should take care that there is no metal, glass, hard plastic in your product. And now metal can usually be detected by a metal detector. It's quite easy for plastic, for glass. It's much more difficult. You need X-ray, and even then it's difficult to find. So what we often do in this industry is we make sure that we do a plastic round. So we check once every so many days, weeks, however risky we want to be there. If all of our glass and hard plastic stuff are still intact. So if you miss a piece somewhere, you have to find that piece, or you block parts of your product. The same also with, for instance, knives and scissors and other metal tools. You count them a bit like a surgeon does in a hospital. You count the tools after a week or after every day or whatever small you want to make your batch. A surgeon will make this batch one patient. So after each operation, they count all their tools, because if they miss a scalpel, it's probably still in the patient. And you use the same in, especially in food industry, where you say, well, if at the end of the day we miss a screwdriver, we cannot find it, we'll have to assume that there is a big chance that it's in our product. So we'll have to block the product. Now, that means that if you do this once a year, then theoretically, if you do not find something at the end of the year, you will have to block the whole produce of the last year. Now, no company will do this. So what you can try and do is push management together with the quality department a bit, that when you have such a department that has a very lousy 5S, so basically they don't have 5S at all, but they have a very lousy orderliness, then you start pushing this type of rules over there. You say, well, it's just not clear how you count how many brooms and knives and whatever the tools you have at the beginning and the end of the shift. You are going to need to register all of those potentially dangerous loose-lying objects every shift handover. And if they are not all there, you're going to find them, or we have to block stuff. And by the way, we know that this is so hard to do in your department. Manager, you're also going to check that form. You're going to make sure that your people do it, and you basically get them in a lot of extra work. And this, of course, is not lean at all. I mean, we're inventing work that could have been done in a much easier way. But we are trying to create problems, because what will happen when there's either direct management pressure or peer pressure, because they are basically the last department that is still a mess and the rest is going on. Those people are getting praise, they are not. Or they're getting a lot of extra quality rules, problem rules, and they will start to complain, hopefully, and really think that this is a bad situation, that people will start to complain about it, and at some point they will come to you and they have the question, can you help me, because I have no idea how we can do something with this whole scissor and knife counting rule, or how do you actually organize in a normal way, like the boss wants, how we hand over the shifts? Or I know everyone's been talking about those KPI thingies, but these people just don't show up for the meeting. Can you help me in some way to help organize my department? And then you've got them, because as soon as they come to you with a direct problem, you have this whole toolbox. You have the KPI meetings, you have 5S, you have Kanban systems, you have all kinds of CI tools ready for them, and the cultural changes. But that means you are now not bringing them problems, you are bringing solutions. So then we go back 2 ways. We help them implement the solutions. We make sure that those managers are supported and that they can look smart again. So that is, and this is really not an easy trick to do, but that is the best advice I can give you on how to get such managers on board. So don't take over their responsibility, because as soon as you take the responsibility, you are in trouble, because you do not have any hierarchical power over them. Now, this is not needed per se to affect change, but if you don't have the hierarchical power and the one that does have the hierarchical power doesn't want to help you, then you are in trouble. So you are in trouble and made responsible, maybe partially because of your own doing. That is a very bad situation. Try to make sure that this person gets in trouble. They come to you for help, you help them and the people under them, and make sure that they really do, well, they do the important work, you do the hard work, probably still. You do the training and the follow-up, but they had a problem and now you reach them a solution and you take them along in the journey. That is one of the strongest things on how to affect management within a change effort that I learned. And well, nowadays I'm more in this position, so probably people are going to sort of use this with me. I was thinking use it against me, but it's not that. It is actually using it with me. As a CI person, as a CI manager specialist, you can manage the organization also above you and make sure that you get the push in the right direction. And indeed, well, sometimes that means that you don't go as fast as you would have liked. If the organization does not support you, you have almost no chance of success. So go slower and first fix that problem, and then you can really do the work that you like. Now, I've also done some videos on the 4 puzzle pieces of change. So that is, training and structure and leadership and understanding. I can do the work in a new way. I have the tools to also do it. I see around me that people, especially my leaders, are doing it, and I want to change because I understand why it is needed. That puzzle of change is still very important. This is not instead of those 4 puzzle pieces. In fact, even around this manager position, you are sort of laying the puzzle. But the thing I want to give is, when you do not have the line management with you in your journey, you are missing a huge part of that puzzle, which is the whole quarter of I see my management doing it and people around me do it, and I want to change because I understand it and I believe in the power of this change. That one is possible without the manager, but will be very difficult. So basically, still use that puzzle piece system, but when you see that line management is not involved enough, really focus on that. It's going to be a deal breaker, and you can make all the nice systems and trainings and get everything set up. You can even get first results, but it will not be sustainable. So that is how to deal, in my opinion, and I also had to learn this the hard way, with a manager, especially a line, a shop floor department manager that doesn't support your change. They may say that they're busy, but it's also a question of it's not enough. The problems haven't created enough pain for this team lead department manager to actually put effort into the change. And like this, well, make sure that they feel enough pain that they come to you with their problem and you can help them. I hope you liked this idea and found something useful in it. Do let me know in the comments, how did stuff like this work for you, or do you run into this, and what is your trick? I'm quite sure that there are more tricks out there, and we as a community should of course learn from each other as well. So I'm very interested to read about that in the comments. For now, I wish you the best of luck influencing your line management, and as always, enjoy the continuous improvement journey.